Dallas Police Chief Eddie Garcia told me that Officer Brian Rozier has been a known person of interest in at least 2 murders since 2019. And ever since, he's still been on the streets here in Dallas, working as an officer until his arrest this morning. We did learn a few new details late this afternoon. 8 people are dead. 2 remain in critical condition after a crowd surge at the Astroworld Festival. Governor, when we spoke last week on the abortion bill, you said that it is the #1 goal for the state of Texas to eliminate rape. Is that a realistic goal? And if so, how do you plan to accomplish it?
Let me tell you what I've done.
Well, safe travels to you again, Randy, heading to Arlington from WinStar Casino, having to stop a couple of times. Give you one more look at the sky here in the distance. Again, to the south, looking a lot darker than what we're seeing to the north. Chief, how long has he been on administrative leave?
Since he was taken into custody this morning.
So he had been out patrolling the community while he was under investigation for murder?
Yes, he was.
On Tuesday, Van Horn will be known for something else when the world's richest person gets in a rocket and takes off from right back here in this desert in West Texas. And Senator Ted Cruz said the immigration shelter inside the convention center took his breath away. He called it tragic, horrific, and entirely preventable. A little bit of a tough day for drivers because traffic is slow moving. Tough day for walkers. A tough day even for birds. We were watching birds trying to fly in this. Both Houston and Baylor have played in the national title game in their history, but neither of those 2 teams have ever won a championship. We'll see what happens in the next few days. We'll send it back to you.
You're not thinking of those victims.
Lavinia Masters is speaking her mind, hoping Governor Greg Abbott will listen.
How dare you, Texas, to tell me that, and you're going to take that power away from me of being a rape victim at 13 and tell me you're going to have that child. No, sir, no, ma'am.
Lavinia is a rape survivor who wanted to speak with us about the new law in Texas that bans abortions after 6 weeks of pregnancy, with no exceptions for survivors of incest or rape. Why force a rape or incest victim to carry a pregnancy to term?
It doesn't require that at all because obviously it provides at least 6 weeks for a person to be able to get an abortion.
No, 6 weeks is not much time at all. We have one living child, my husband and I didn't find out until I was 8 weeks.
Let's make something very clear. Rape is a crime, and Texas will work tirelessly to make sure that we eliminate all rapists from the streets of Texas.
And I hate to say, because I don't want it to seem like I'm female against male, but some things, it's not a man's decision.
Kylene Wright is the president of the Texans for Life Coalition. She's celebrating the law and says abortion is not the answer, even for victims of sexual assault.
If she thinks that abortion is helping people, well, we just fundamentally disagree. It's not helping people. It's not helping women. An abortion can't undo the trauma of rape. It just can't.
It is a controversial subject intensified by the governor's remarks, just days after the new abortion law took effect.
I understand morals. I understand values. I understand your faith. I have all of that, but I also have compassion.
In Dallas, I'm Alex Rozier. He was an explosive wide receiver from Lancaster High. Tony Evans Jr. was a standout on one of North Texas's top teams.
Scholarship to Wyoming, 3-star athlete.
Evan Joshua Atabay never met him.
And I took control of the situation.
But he was with him when Tony took his last breath.
I'm just still trying to process everything. This day will stick with me for the rest of my life.
On Saturday night, Evan was in his hotel room at the Hawthorne Suites on Brook River Drive. Police say Tony was at a gathering next door.
And I actually heard about 5 to 6 gunshots at around midnight, maybe a little bit later. And at that point, I saw about 5 young men running towards 221. I heard one individual say, "We need help, he's dying." And that was when I intervened. I actually walked upstairs and saw the young man, Tony, lying on the ground, and he was covered in blood.
Evan put Tony in his car and drove him just blocks to Parkland Hospital.
I did the best that I could.
Where he was pronounced dead.
Everything was happening so fast, but I knew what I needed to do to try to save his life. I want the family to know that I did the best I could to comfort him as he took his last breaths.
Dallas police are still searching for the killer.
It's unreal and it doesn't make sense.
In a time when family and friends remember this young man who made a tremendous impact.
It leaves me lost for words.
Till the day he died.
He just seemed like such an intelligent young man, and for things to happen like this for him, it's just heartbreaking. It really is.
In early May, I went looking for Karen McBride.
Do you know a Karen McBride?
I've heard of her.
After I learned police in Oklahoma had been looking for her too.
Sir, do you know a Karen McBride?
Maybe. Maybe not.
Some may find it fitting I found her in Runaway Bay.
I could have went to prison over this.
Where we discussed the warrant for her arrest.
Karen, I have to ask. Did you do it?
No, absolutely not.
It's been an exciting year for Mrs. McBride. In November, she got married. So she went to the DMV a few months back trying to update the name on her driver's license.
And the DMV says?
No, they said they couldn't help me until I got the issue cleared up in Oklahoma.
Yes, the issue in Oklahoma. The issue Karen McBride never even knew about. It turns out she had a felony warrant for embezzlement out of Norman in Cleveland County.
What was going through your mind?
Panic. And she said it is for a VHS tape not being returned to the movie place in 1999. Okay, will you mind telling me what the name of the movie was?
No, it wasn't a dream.
You really can talk.
Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
That's right.
I'm a witch.
She faced a felony warrant for 22 years for not returning Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
You are allowed to laugh because it is funny.
Thankfully for her, the charge was dropped.
Now, when I walked into the DMV once this was cleared up, the lady at the counter, I was sitting in line waiting my turn when I got up to the counter and she saw my name and she looked at me and she said, "Are you the..." I said, "Yes, ma'am, I am. Can I please change my name now?"
I miss the DA's office, miss the excitement of the DA's office.
In the late 90s, Tim Kirkendall was the Cleveland County District Attorney. Back then, in Oklahoma, it was a felony charge to not return movies like Sabrina the Teenage Witch, which in 1999 was valued at $58.59.
Embezzling something like a video game or a VHS tape, if it was valued at more than $50, it was a felony charge. That law changed in 2004 to make the threshold $500. So after 2004, anything valued at over $500 was a felony charge. Currently, the law says anything valued at more than $1,000 is a felony, which is a lot more reasonable than what it was back in 1999.
But our investigation uncovered problems for other people too.
I mean, it really took me quite a while to kind of wrap my mind around what was going on.
In 2018, George Gore was pulled over for speeding at Tinker Air Force Base near Oklahoma City. Hours later, he was preparing for a night in the Oklahoma County Detention Center.
Like, I am really sitting here on this concrete slab in a jail because of a video game I didn't return 21 years ago.
NBA Hang Time.
Yeah, I was always playing with the Bulls.
That's the video game George allegedly didn't return in 1997.
I have no idea how it didn't get turned in.
And 21 years later, he was arrested on base after learning of his felony warrant for embezzlement in Cleveland County.
I don't understand how anyone could possibly think that would be okay to make that a felony. Like, I can't imagine what's going through someone's mind thinking, hey, you know what we should do? We should make not returning video games a felony. Like, that's a great idea. Like, let's really stick it to the people, you know what I mean? Like, ugh.
The county dropped Gore's charge too.
At the time, a warrant like this was fairly common.
Yes.
But Kirkendall says Oklahomans may want to check if they're wanted.
It's quite possible that a lot of people that were charged back in 1999 or before had charges filed against them, and they don't find out about it for years.
There are people right now that have felony warrants in Oklahoma and may not know about it.
I'm sure there are, because there are hundreds, thousands across the state of charges like this that were filed 20, 22 years ago, and some of those, I'm sure, are still active warrants.
And that's why Karen's a bit grateful knowing she can still enjoy retirement in Runaway Bay.
This is home now.
A place far more peaceful than prison.
What movie would you go to prison for?
Not a one.
In Runaway Bay.
Not a one.
I'm Alex Rozier.